All right, let's hear from a few more people via Discord at davidpakman.com/Discord. Going next to Nick from Brooklyn, my old stomping ground. Nick from Brooklyn, what neighborhood are you in?
Oh, hey, I'm in Bensonhurst.
Bensonhurst. I spent a week there one night, if you know what I mean.
You know what, that guy could interpret that in several ways. So, I'm taking the best
What's going
possible one.
on?
What's going on, man? I am a little curious, honestly. Not necessarily anything, more so just your opinion on kind of the future of the country. And I notice a lot of people on the Republican side, they seem to just see the world in a different way, in an aspect that, like, when we look at things with this election, we seem to see things as very obvious, as like, well, very obviously there isn't data to support certain things, like all these fraudulent claims, all these things, nothing can be substantiated.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when I see, or like when I discuss, like, with my parents, or when I see a lot of people on the Republican side, it seems that their interpretation of the world is like so far removed from the reality that I'm kind of curious to see how the left can bring over these people that see the world so differently.
Yeah.
If they aren't even willing to accept anything different in the first place.
This is a huge issue, and obviously, this is a particularly acute problem right now because of Trumpism and all sorts of wild claims. Nothing is ever too crazy for the Trumpists to defend. But this is also just a bigger issue in America. The country is so big. I spent some time, for example, in rural northern Indiana a couple of years ago, and spending time there made me understand, like, of course they voted for Trump. All there is evangelical churches. So your entire socializing is happening in evangelical churches where abortion is this major issue. One of the few things there is to do is to shoot guns. So it's like, of course they're not going to vote for somebody like Joe Biden, whether or not they think Joe Biden's a socialist. Like, if that's your environment for your first 18 years, obviously you're voting for a Republican when you turn 18, whether or not they can credibly claim to be pro-life or not. I don't know what to do about that. This is just a bigger issue, period. And we have to think about the deprogramming of tens of millions of people from cult-like beliefs. We're going to be doing some interviews about it. Yeah.
I feel like, as many issues and policies we can put forth to,
Right.
Try to better the world around us, because it's one thing when it's just like, we have like the two parties to have, like, or we have several, but, generally bipartisan for people to express different beliefs and thoughts. But it seems more so it's not just an expression of different thought. It seems like some are, a lot more. God, I'm trying to think of what the term would be for it.
Well, these are cultural issues more than they are policy.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just kind of curious, not necessarily that you'd have a complete answer to it, but what do you think would be a good way we can at least attempt to move the culture?
I mean,
in like
one
way
thing
that
would
could
be, if we could, on average, get everybody one additional year of education, it would actually make an electoral difference. And what I mean by that is, you take all the people who dropped out of school after middle school to at least go 1 year to high school. Everybody who never went to college, take a year of class. Like, if you just upped the average education by a year, which is a lot, like, that's when you have a country of 330 million, to increase the average schooling by 1 year it's a crazy undertaking. That alone, I think, because of knowing the relationship between education and how people vote, that would be huge in and of itself. So I do think education is a big part of it, but there are cultural aspects to it that are huge. It's a big topic. I wish I had the answers.
Yeah, no, I'm not expecting you to. I'm just very curious to see what your perspective would be, and like how maybe a cultural shift could occur in the first place. Just because it's still so surprising to me, like, seeing just so much of the country believe in such a cult-like behavior.
Cultural shifts are very slow. There's the ways that you get fast cultural shifts are usually because of a dictator. And so we don't want that. We have to accept that it's going to be a longer process.
Yeah, fair enough. And final thing, do you also feel that because of Trump coming into the country that it's because I feel like, yes, cultural shifts do happen slowly, but this has been, or maybe these are just all people been in hiding, or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah. I
not
think with
necessarily,
Trump,
but
I don't
with
think
Trump,
with
I feel like
Trump,
he's really brought out a lot in the
exactly.
culture that we haven't seen before.
Exactly. I don't think Trump created these people. I think he gave them a place to go public and coalesce. I think it's
Hmm.
that. Listen, my friend, I
Okay.
appreciate the call. I want to get to a couple of other people, but let's hope to speak again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Very good. All right. Excellent. I want to let you know that our sponsor, Vincero Watches, is having a massive holiday sale on all of their products right now, and you can take advantage of it by going to davidpakman.com/watch. A brand new high quality wristwatch really is the perfect way to add something fresh to your style, whether it's for you or a gift for someone else. Vincero is a brand that has a serious dedication to the craft of watchmaking, which is really evident when you look closely at their watches. I wear Vincero watches myself. Lately, I've been wearing one from their Icon Automatic collection. It's the mesh matte black watch, and I love the sleek, minimalist design. Their watches are actually sold at a fair price. Their mission has always been to make a wristwatch from high-end materials, but one that everyday people can afford. And that's why they have over 25,000 five-star reviews, because you won't find a better made watch for this great of a price anywhere else. You can get big holiday discounts on all of their products right now and free shipping when you go to davidpakman.com/watch. I've put the link right underneath this video.